Hey friends, Chubby Meeple here, back with another thorough walkthrough and a review for you to help just again continue helping you weigh those gaming decisions. Today we're going to take a look at Quartz. That's a little game designed by Sergio Halaban and Andre Zatz and published by Passport Game Studios. Let's go to the table, see how it plays. We'll come back here and I'll tell you what I think. Setup for Quartz is very simple. You're going to take the game board, place it in the middle of the table, and place your round marker on day 1. Essentially, you're going to play through 5 days. You're then going to give each player a mine cart with a breakdown of the number of gems that are in, or the types of gems that are in the mine, as well as the dollar values that each is worth, and then some set collection for some extra scoring broken down on here. There's also a second side to this, so when you get kicked out of the mine, this is how you indicate to the other players that you've had that accident and you've been kicked out. Each player will also be given a reference card. This gives a breakdown of the number of gems, a number of each type of gem that's in the mine, as well as a reminder of your 3 you get to choose from one of 3 actions every time you have a turn. The back of this card also contains a treasure chest. This allows you to store gems for scoring in future rounds to kind of bump scoring up for you there. You will then also deal players 5 cards. Each player will be dealt 5 cards. These are your action cards to add a little bit of take that to the game. We'll discuss that a little bit further. Once you've distributed the mine cart, the player reference cards, and the take that or action cards to each player, you'll then deal out a number of cards on the player board equal to the number of players. In this case, I have a 3-player game set up, so there are only 2 cards out here. We have a card with no money on it, a card with $1. If I had a 4-player game, I would have a 3rd card out here with $2 on it. A 5th player would add a 4th card with $3 on top of that card, and these cards will actually be taken as you choose to leave the mine. You'll get cards there, kind of what they refer to as a bravery bonus. You'll also separate out your 1s, 5s, 10s, and 50s in terms of your dollars, and leave those in separate piles near the board where players can reach. And then you have your mine, or your bag of gems, and this is where you'll actually be mining the gems from. So a lot of different types of gems will come out of this bag. So that's the setup of Quartz. How does the game play? Let's take a look. On their turn, a player has 3 actions to choose from, and they will select one of those 3 actions. The first action is to just mine a crystal. Very simple. You take your mine or the bag, you reach your hand into the bag, and you mine a crystal and hope to get one of the valuable crystals, which I just did here. That then goes on top of my mine cart to simulate that it's been mined. I then pass the mine to the player to my left. They do the same thing. They can mine a gem, or they can do one of the other 2 actions. That's the first action that you can take. You only get to take 1 action each turn. The second action that you have access to is to play an action card from your hand. And these are your take that a little bit. These are cards that will allow you to pass the unvaluable gems, these obsidian gems. You can pass those to other players. You can force other players to mine for you, and they have to keep whatever they take out of the bag. So a way you have them mine 2 gems, and you have the option of taking 1 from them if you want to. Otherwise, they keep everything they've pulled out of the bag, including the obsidian gems. You have cards that makes opponents randomly return valuable crystals back to the bag. You have cards that allow you to steal crystals from your opponent's mine carts. And of course, you have that defense in there as well. So for example, this is a defense card that says instead of being stolen from, you get to steal from the thief. So some cool little defense cards that you have as well. Now you only have these 4 action cards that get dealt out at the beginning of the game. And one of the neat components of this that I thought was kind of a cool design element is you'll notice on each of these cards you have a dollar value up in the upper left-hand corner of each card. That indicates that if at the end of the game, the end of day 5, if you have these cards in your hand, you will score this many dollars. You'll be able to sell these cards back for additional victory points. So there is a little bit of decision making as well when it comes to playing action cards. You'll play the cards you're dealt 5 at the start of the game. You'll play them as your turn goes around. And the only way to get these cards back up is to get them from the bravery bonus from the middle of the track, or at the end of each round, each player is dealt 1 additional card at the start of each new day that you play, or the new round, if you will. The third action that you can take is to choose to leave the mine. So we're just going to throw up, for example, here, I'm just going to throw some gems in my cart. So this is the mining that I've done. I see that I have a lot of points in my cart. I also have one of the lumps of coal or the obsidian gems, obsidian crystal that are in my cart. I don't want to get a second one, so I'm going to tell everyone, announce as my action for my turn that I'm leaving the mine. When I leave the mine, I take all of the gems that are on my mine cart. I flip my mine cart over, put my gems back on top. This indicates that I'm no longer in the mine. I also will take the first card that's furthest to the left and add this to my hand. So in this case, this is choose an opponent who must mine 2 crystals. I can take one, but my opponent must keep the rest. This now gets added to my hand of cards to be played in later rounds. And I now will score the gems that are left in my cart at the end of the day once the other players are done. And so play will progress around the table until all but one player has left the mine. You will then score your gems, put them all back in the bag, advance your day marker to the second day or to the next day, and replenish the cards in the center of the table, and just do it all over again. You play 5 days or 5 rounds, and at the end of day 5, whoever has amassed the most money is declared the winner. Now, I want to do a little bit of a breakdown of the scoring and how scoring works at the end of the day. On your mine cart, you see the 6 types of crystals that are in the mine that can be found: quartz, amethyst, emerald, sapphire, ruby, and amber. Of course, the more valuable gem down here, the amber, there are only 2 of those in the bag. Your quartz, there are 15 of those. So the more valuable, the less likely you are to find it. Makes sense. But at the end of the day, you're going to score the specified dollar amount for each gem of each type that you have. So if you have 2 amethyst, you're going to score $4 for those 2 amethyst crystals. There is also a little bit of a set collection mechanic here that helps kind of push you further into the gem or into the mine to continue mining crystals. If you have 3 of any one type of gem, you get to double the value of any other gem. So for example, if I had 3 of these quartz gems, I get $3 for having them, but then I could double the value of another gem. So for example, I could make the emerald worth $6 for the end of that day. If I have 4 of any one crystal, I get to double the value of 2 other types of gems. So if I have 4 of the quartz, I still get my $4 for the 4 quartz, but then I could double the emerald and the sapphire. So now emerald's worth $6, sapphire is now worth $8 for that. If I have 1 of each of 5 of the 6 different types, in addition to any other scoring that I received, I will also receive an $8 extra, kind of a bonus. And if I get 1 of each type of gem, there's 6 types, if I have 1 of each, in addition to all of my scoring, I get $12 extra for the end of that day. Right, so that's Quartz. One of the things I like the most about Quartz is it's a great little family game. So it plays well with kids. The rules are very easy to pick up and learn. It's got a good flow through it. Thematically, it's not inappropriate for young kids. So I really do like that aspect of it. But on the flip side of that, I've also played this with full adult gaming groups who've really enjoyed it as well. So it works well with both sides of the coin. Now, of course, it plays in about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, so it is a little more of a filler game than it will be a staple of game night, but it certainly fits that mold well. Component quality, what you saw in the video, the very fantastic components. The cards have a nice weight to them. The player mine carts, as well as the central bravery track in the middle of the board. Good weight, good solid construction there. And then, of course, the gems, the crystals that are in the mine themselves. I really like how they've taken the aspect and taken really good care to not make it so you can feel around. My main concern when I first got the game out and was looking through the crystals themselves was that I noticed, when you're looking at them, the black obsidian crystals look like they have a sleeker feel to them than the shimmering, valuable crystals that you can find in the bag. And I was afraid that when I'd put them in the bag, you could feel around and be able to tell which ones the black obsidian crystals were just by feel. That is not the case. They took great care in ensuring that there's no way you can tell just by feel what kind of crystal you have in your hand. I was really, that one concern I had, abated. Component quality wise, if I do have one minor gripe, it is on those action cards themselves. And it's a minor gripe for me, could be major for other folks, but that is, if you take a look at these cards, your action cards versus your defense cards are a little bit darker of a purple color, whereas the action cards are kind of a dark blue. For folks that have trouble with color blindness, especially with shades, these cards are kind of hard to tell apart color-wise. So you really have to pay attention to the text on the cards to know whether it's a defense card or whether it's an attack card that can be played against an opponent. Rules are easy to pick up on and play. Like I said, just the whole push your luck mechanic, coupled with the set collection and the take that component provided by the cards, really provides a unique game experience. Had some great experiences of pushing farther and having those victory of, I pulled the one crystal I needed to double up some points and score big. And then I've seen the other side of the coin too, keep pushing, trying to get that one crystal that you need, pull that black obsidian, and you throw away 20 some points at the end of the day. So it's a fantastic game. I highly recommend it. It's fairly inexpensive. You can grab it. I know online carries it. I grabbed my copy. I pre-ordered it through Cool Stuff, but I know a lot of the local game stores have it as well, in stock and retail. Fairly easy to find as well. Definitely pick up Quartz if you can, if you get the chance. Play it with friends, play it with family. And until next time, it's a Chubby Meeple saying, have some fun, play some games, and continue making those memories.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool Stuff, in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.